2, 1. All right, y'all. What's the deal? This your man King Eric, the media assassin. You're now tuned in live and direct at episode number 630 of Off the Cuff Radio. And this show is sponsored by Screwball Radio, sponsored by Da Vinci Clover and Buddy Boy Entertainment. Got my host T Max with the facts of the building. What's good?
Man, what's going on? This is another tremendous chapter in the illustrious history of outstanding OTC frequency. Shout out to our co-host of Spirit, a lot of Sandman, Lady Chinchilla, and of course, CJ Sincere up in New York City. And tonight's guest is a living legend who is immortalized in every aspect of the sweet science we know as boxing. Shout out to Michelle Morales-Lewis, the head of the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. Shout out to the Orleans Hotel, where the function was held this past summer. This man that we have tonight is a champion in every sense of the word, from boxing to humanity to aspects of a husband, father, and all-around ambassador for the sport. This man was the former WBO world champion, U.S. amateur champion, Pan American Games champion, silver medalist. His accolades are far and wide. And there are not enough words to describe the legacy of greatness that he has achieved when he was in the ring and through retirement, and what he's doing to this day. He is a heavyweight in terms of standing tall, stout, strong, talented, with substance, and most importantly, tenacity and a genuine sense of humanity. It was a great pleasure to meet him face to face when I was in Vegas over the summer for the Boxing Hall of Fame ceremony in Vegas. And we are so honored to have him on Off the Cuff tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the legendary luminary of the sweet science himself and recent Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame inductee class of 2024, Mr. Lamon Brewster. Welcome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. I'm honored. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
You are very, very welcome.
Absolutely.
And thank you, for coming. Look, it's not every day we get a Hall of Fame heavyweight champion on our show.
This is a big deal.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a pleasure, man. It's definitely a pleasure to be acknowledged for your efforts, especially when, a fighter like myself, I've tried to not be a materialistic person, not be a worldly person. I try to intentionally be a role model and try to be one of those people that is trying to make a difference in this sport. That word I. It's not about me. It's always, in my mind, it's been about everybody who believed in me, who thought that I could make it, and a part of my desire to be successful is because I didn't want to let people down. That number one, especially those who thought I was going to lose. I definitely didn't want to. I didn't want them to be right. But definitely those people like my mom, my dad, my family, my little brothers, that people who looked up to me. It's like it forced me to set a bar. And then, I'm a Bible thumper, and the Bible says to honor thy mother, honor thy father. And I remember as a young man sitting on my father's sofa watching boxing, and what better way for a young man to try to gain the love and respect of his dad, becoming a world champion, let alone heavyweight world champion. So, that for me really kind of started this whole snowball effect, if you will, because I started boxing for reasons to get rid of energy, to get confidence, and it just like I say, the snowball effect. I kept winning and people started, kids in my neighborhood started looking up to me. And then, you start getting more respect from people in your communities, and people start to take notice to you. And, like I say, the snowball effect, man, it just basically molded me into becoming who I am today, a non-materialistic person that just I've always wanted to try to help people just so that I could try to do what God says, which is to love thy brothers, thou love thyself, honor thy mother, honor thy father. So I'm trying to gain my wings, if you will.
I mean, dude, it was, your speech at the Hall of Fame was unbelievable. It was touching. It was poignant. It was sincere. To sit there with my parents and to watch you give acknowledgement to yours was just so profoundly beautiful. That was one of the highlights of that night. When you talk about your ascent, Lamon, in terms of what it was, because, we got a lot to talk about in terms of your history, and you said you grew up watching with your dad, and, during that time when you both were watching it, the heavyweight division was way different than what it is now. You're still talking about guys like, Ali, Frazier, Foreman, Liston, all of those guys, who were still, doing their thing at that particular point, and even going into the later years, where Tyson would come along, and all those guys, Razor Rudder, Trevor Burbitt, and there's a lot of misconceptions about the sport, Lamon, in terms of the work you have to put in before you get to that main event status. Before like Michael Buffer says, let's get ready to rumble. When you have the thousands of adoring fans, waiting. There's a process. Tell us about those early years in terms of you honing your skills, the training you went through, and the levels you had to go to before you broke through into that main event status.
Let me see how to answer this. As you were speaking, I just was really thinking back to young Lamon Brewster. I was so inspired in my life by what was it called? Kung Fu Theater.
Yeah, man, USA.
Oh yeah.
USA Network, yes, sir.
So when I was training in this gym, I noticed the discipline that it took to be a fighter, because there would be days where my boys would want to go hang out. There'd be days where it was nice outside, and that meant the girls was out in the hood. You know what I mean? Like I wanted, so it was like the sacrifices that I had to make. But what helped me was that I would watch these karate movies, and it's like they always would discipline themselves. What they say, I got to go to Shaolin. I got to go. So the boxing gym became Shaolin Temple for me, because when I was in there, I was learning something. But what I didn't know at this until I got older, naturally, was that I was learning something about myself. I was learning about my discipline. I was learning about determination. It taught me so much that I didn't know would apply to life. That never quit attitude. Especially, when I was a young man, one of the things I actually remember a lot is I would see the older gentlemen hitting the bags, man, and see their muscles, and they got their shirts off. So I got my shirt off. I'm hitting the bag. I'm inspired. But the difference between them and me is naturally they hit harder, but they also have better stamina, better endurance. Because when you're young, you don't know how to punch yet. You don't know how to breathe. You don't know how to really focus your energy. You don't know how to pace yourself. And so these things, once I learned them, they taught me something about life. It taught me about outside of the boxing gym, I got to be focused when there's something that I'm trying to do. I got to do it repetitiously so that I can do it right when I need to do it. I have to endure. I have to focus and block out all the distractions that may be around me, especially if somebody's next to you and they're working out hard. All that does is motivate you, but you got to block out what they're doing so you don't get caught up in looking at what they're doing, because maybe they're doing a little better than you, but at the same time, it gives you that competitiveness to say, you know what, I got to get my game up. I got to try harder because I want to be as good as this person or better than this person. And when I'm hitting the bag and he's hitting the bag,
Hello? Yeah, they T got dropped. Hello? Hold on, guys. We get everybody back in. Yo. Yo, what's going? Yo.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. We got him?
Yeah, I'm going to bring him back in now. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, the technical difficulties is hitting all over the spell, but we going to get it done.
Absolutely. Off the cuff cannot be stopped.
Not at all. Hold on, I'm going to call him back now.
yo.
Yeah, we back. I don't know what happened, but yeah, we back.
Okay, Lamon, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're talking about when you were hitting the bag and everything.
Yeah.
Just the discipline. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know what the last part you heard, but what I was saying was that when I was in the ring with my opponent, it was never personal. It was just the competitiveness, the same competitiveness that I wanted to hit the heavy bag better than anybody in the gym. I wanted to be able to jump rope better than anybody in the gym. I wanted to be able to hit the speed bag better in the gym. So when I was in the ring, I just had the same mentality. That's why you never heard me talk trash about fighting anybody, because it was never. I didn't never have that person, except for Vladimir Klitschko and Andrew Vlada. But outside of that, I don't have personal. It was never personal for me. It was. I wanted to show my skills were better than the next man. So that's why I never did any of that trash talking, if you will, because I felt like that's not who I am. So why would I try to be something that I am not? I don't have anything negative to say about anybody that feel like that's what they do, because everybody needs to do what they need to do to make their world go round, if you will. What works for some don't work for others. And just the trash talking and being loud and flashy with jewelry and all those type of things, man, like that's just not me. I always believed that knowledge, like to me, rich and wealth is knowledge, man. And so I've always tried to read books and things like that, man, because I always and well, I guess I should say, when I went to California at 18, I met all these big lawyers and all these people, man, and I couldn't speak the language, because I'm from the hood. It really encouraged me to start reading the dictionary, reading books, and just trying to get my mind powerful, man, because, the thing of it is that you can't judge a wise man or a rich man or a poor man by what he wears, because you judge a man by the knowledge that he has in his head or she has in their head. It's all about wisdom and knowledge for me. That's what excites me. Being able to have good conversations with people and being able to just be a representative of people that look like me, that come from areas that I come from, which makes a big difference in my opinion.
Absolutely. And, you coming from, Indianapolis, Indiana, I mean, you definitely, were dealing with a lot of stuff. I mean, when you look at some of the places like Concord, Midtown, Renaissance Place, I mean, it's a lot that goes on, representing the 317. In terms of that, what was a typical day like for you just growing up in terms of just seeing what was going on, before you found yourself getting into boxing?
Well, so the thing that I did, and my mom, I give her the credit. My mother kept me busy. She kept me in sports. 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 When I wasn't in school, I was always in sports. And then even in the hood, we was playing football in the fields. We was playing basketball at the court. So, my energy was always directed at being a team player, or always directed at trying to be the best that I could be, and so it was able to save my life. And I say that because I have a lot of friends, rest in peace, that are not here today because they chose the other route. They chose a route that ended up putting them in jail, putting them on drugs, and or dead. And so, especially because I came up as a teenager in the crack era, in the late '80s, man. And Indiana, where a lot of people don't know, is a major. Well, that's why they call it the crossroads of America, because we got Chicago to the left of us, Cincinnati to the right of us, Detroit above us, and Louisville right below us. So all the traffic, all the killers, all of them, everybody, in order to get to any of them states, got to cross through Indiana, man. And so I got all worlds. I got the West Coast, the East Coast, the South, and the North, man. And so I had boxing to basically give me that outlet, because you can't be from the hood and be cool and be stuck in the house all the time. But at least, because my trainer, he would, so I would get out of school, get home by like 4 o'clock. My trainer would come get me by 5:30 so we could be in the gym by 6 o'clock. Because he picked me up, I was the first one in the gym. And because he took me home, I was the last one to leave the gym. So from 6 to 9, I was always in the gym, and that's the way I spent my teenage years, if you will, man. And like I said, it saved my life, and I didn't even realize it at the time. But I now look back, because I remember a lot of my friends, because they knew I could fight, would be like, "Hey, man, once you come here with me or go there with me," And it was one of the things where every time I'm around people, I'm giving them confidence because they know I can fight. So here they are, they talking trash and acting bad, and here who's fighting me? Where are they at? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
Right.
I like I say, man, I knew that I couldn't continue to allow myself to be in those type of situations, because how long would it be before somebody would have pulled a gun and murdered me, rightfully so. And so going to the gym saved my life, but at the same time, it taught me a lot about myself. And I remember guys would always come up to my gym in the beginning anyway, and they used to try me, and I put them hands on them, man, and I ended up making my whole community respect me. And then their little brothers started looking up to me, man. I was like a ghetto superstar walking through the hood, man, because everybody knew Lamon Brewster had them hands, and I was the man. So I used that not to give me a big head, but I used that to humble me, to say I gotta represent my state. I gotta represent my gym. I gotta represent everything that I believe that I could stand, like my family, my friend. So it just really helped me, man. Especially in those mornings, I would get up and run before I even went to school. I'm talking about in junior high. I'm talking about in high school. I used to see my bus driver dropping off other children before she would come and pick up my school. So I just, man, boxing, I love boxing as a fan. I love boxing as a boxer, because I understand how great boxing is for the mind, how good it is for the body, how good it is for the spirit. I've seen men come into the gym that would get off work, and they have had a hectic day, and they was angry because maybe their boss was getting on them, or just whatever it may be, man. But the point is, I've seen men take out their fury in the gym and then be able to go home and be a good husband, be a good father, take off that stress and not take it home with them. But I've seen boxing change lives, man, and I swear by it, I live by it, and I'll die for it, man, because boxing is it gave me a life. Boxing allowed me to leave Indianapolis, Indiana, leave out the ghetto, and allowed me to travel around the whole world. It allowed me to meet people and presidents and just people of notoriety all around the world, man. And so I love boxing for that, man. So I'll never turn my back on boxing. And I always try to encourage young people to get into boxing, not to be a boxer, but to learn something about yourself, because you never know how how good you can be at something until you try. And we're all a warrior. We're all a fighter on the inside. And when you find out that you have better stamina than somebody else, when you find out that you can punch harder than somebody else, when you find out that you got good footwork, when you find out that you got bad footwork, the point is that it teaches you something about yourself, man. And when you accomplish something inside of a boxing gym, it makes you feel like the biggest man that ever lived outside of the boxing gym. You feel me?
And you know what? To elaborate on that, I remember in the movie Creed where you made a valid point about when you first going in there, you going into the gym, and people taking that aggression out. It have you thinking you could beat anybody, but when he got into the ring against more skillful fighters, he got dropped within seconds. Like he had the rage, he had the aggression, he had the fighting, but he didn't. But one missed footwork, he got dropped to the canvas. So it shows that it's a lot of technicality. It's a mental sport. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 90%. It's 90% mental. I mean, it is truly 90% mental, man, and that's why, like, I say that, like, when I hear men that say, well, I want to box, but I ain't start young. Well, I think that's actually good. That means you haven't sustained a lot of damage from punches, and when you get older, you get smart, you get wiser. So you do it smarter, not harder. When you're young, you got the muscle, you got the will. You just let your hands go. But sometimes letting your hands go might walk you into a trap, because when I fought young dudes that had that tenacity, that mindset, all I would do is just be patient enough to put them into that trap and let them walk right into it.
Man, I mean, that strategy that's always utilized. Tell us, so we've gone through the parts about your training in the early days, because people don't understand that there's a point, like we were saying earlier, before you actually get to the main event. Tell us about when you started doing your amateur fights, the process of going through that.
Okay, so in Indiana, we didn't have a lot of boxing shows when I was growing up, because Indiana's a basketball football state. Like, if you play basketball football, man, you the man. You hear me? I mean, I'm heavyweight.
Notre Dame.
Right.
Yeah, Indiana State. Yeah.
Pacers.
Exactly. So they didn't give boxing the love or attention that other states like Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, basically. So the point I'm making is that when I was 18, I got the chance to go to California. I went to California, man, and they fought, like, in Indiana. If you fought 4 times a year in Indiana, you was balling. But in California, they have 4 fights per weekend. You know what I mean? 365, 52 weeks out of the year, like every weekend, from the top, from Northern California to Southern California, man, they always got boxing shows. So my record, man, like, I had, 90, I'm trying to think. So I came out there in 91, turned pro in 96. So between 91 and 96, man, I had like an additional like 80, 90 fights. You know what I mean? Like just I stayed busy because that it was so boxing is like, and it's crazy because I didn't know that boxing was big on the West Coast. I knew boxing was big in Vegas, but I thought that's just because you went out there to fight. I didn't know they had boxing gyms with all these champions out there. Because I tell people, man, God bless me so much because when I was training, man, listen to this. So as a professional, I'm a young pro, right? I'm sparring every single day for years. Now get this, every day for years. I'm sparring with Michael Moore, James Toney, Francois Botha, Jeremy Williams, like every week. Like this ain't no like every other 6 months. I'm talking about this was every day if that's what I wanted to do, man. So as the Bible say, iron sharpens iron and man sharpens man. And by me going to the gym with these dudes, man, Jeremy Williams was somebody that I always looked up to as an amateur. Like he was my age, and for him to have won the nationals at 16, like that was phenomenal to me. And it's like I didn't know any amateur boxers that even made it to the and the won the nationals in Indiana, man. Indiana, they for whatever reason, well, we know the reason, it's the training, but the point is very few fighters from Indiana win the boxing nationals, the USA nationals. But Jeremy Williams was 16 years old and won it. And my dad used to speak of him. And so that made me like, wow. And then here I get to meet Jeremy Williams. And then not only Jeremy Williams, is James Lights Out Toney. Like when this man was like the most feared dude in middleweight division, super middleweight division, light heavyweight division, then became heavyweight. So it's like, having the experience of being around these type of dudes was just incredible, man. And Montel Griffin, first man to beat Roy Jones. He's my roommate. I met him when I first came out there. I'm 18. And like I say, and Francois Botha. Like, so I had the best boxing, man. Like, dude, I had no choice but to be successful because it was so many people around me that was so good. They made me better.
Man, and the fight game was hungrier back then too, because you had that new batch of fighters where everybody was hungry for that spot. Especially, I think, with the heavyweight division, the way it was. I'm thinking since you said '96, I think that's when Tyson lost to Holyfield, and that's when Holyfield had the belt.
'96.
What's that?
I think that's when.
I believe when that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking that's when '96. That's when Tyson had the belt. Then he lost to Holyfield. I think that's when. I could be wrong.
I think that was '97. I believe was that '96 or '97. But that was a watershed year because that's when Mayweather, I believe, also went pro in '96.
Yeah.
Man, listen, check this out, man.
Go ahead.
So me and Floyd came up together on the U.S. Olympic team, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was the team captain, man. And so as a team captain, the rules was if anybody had a problem, you had to go to the team captain, and then if the team captain couldn't solve it, then you then could come to the team captain would go to the coach, the staff or whatnot, try to resolve whatever the problem is. And so me and Floyd, we was cool in amateurs and whatnot, man. He was just a young kid. He's like 16 and whatnot, and he's the same way then that he is today. A very confident man. And, he just, you accept people for who they are. And so the reason why I respect and love Floyd today is because he's the exact same person he was then before he even had money. And then when me and him turned professional, we both was young professionals under Top Rank. And so one day we had fought on Gennaro Chicanito Hernandez undercard, and it was me and Floyd. We was at the Hilton Hotel, and we was walking down the street, just the two of us, and he said something that I'll never forget. Man was talking, and remind you, he was a young dude, man, and I think I got about 3 or 4 years on him. I'm 51 now. I can't remember how old Floyd is right now, but there's an age difference, and so as we walking, this young man says to me, because we talking, we have both won our fight, and he says to me, man, I think I'm gonna step up. I said, what you talking about? He said, yeah, I think I'm gonna challenge for the belt. And I'm looking at this dude like, man, you still got breast milk on your breath. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I'm looking at this dude like, you a young dude. Like, what's the rush? And so he says something to me that I always tell people about Floyd, because I want them to notice about him. He told me he stopped. We stopped in the middle. We were like I said, at the Hilton Hotel on Las Vegas Strip, and we stopped right there. And he looked at me dead in my eye, just the two of us, nobody else. He said, "You can't let little money stand in the way of big money." And then we kept walking. And when he said that to me, I looked at him like, man, ain't you too young to even know that? You know what I mean? But at the same time, he did it, and I'm so proud of him, man. He did it. He did it. He did what every fighter on earth wishes that they could do. And that's why I love him, and that's why I respect him, and I'm always gonna support him, man, because he said that to me. There was nobody around but just the two of us. But I just want people to know, man, Floyd's a wise dude. He's not a fool. And the fool could never make the success or have the success that he has, man. But I just say that because, you hear people always hating. You hear people say negative things, man. But yeah, man, Floyd was a tremendous fighter then, and he had a tremendous mind, and we see that manifesting today. And with me, when I was a young heavyweight, but matter of fact, my first few fights was with Cedric Kushner. Cedric Kushner had this thing called Heavyweight Explosions. And so my first fight was at Arizona Charlie's in 96. And it was on the undercard of Ike Beabuchi. And I always remember at one point when I was coming up as a young professional, which I cherish. I was called by the top boxing writers around the world. I was called to be in a young group that they call the Young Lions. The Young Lions consisted of Ike Beabuchi, David Tua, Hasim Rockman, Chris Bird, Lamon Brewster, and I think there was one more, but I think it may have been 5 or 6, but yeah, man. So just to be spoken of in the same breath of these dudes, man, like that meant a lot to me, man, because like I say, coming from Indiana, there's never been a heavyweight champion of the world from the state of Indiana. And I'm proud. I'm proud to say that I am, and I am the first, to the best of my knowledge. I don't think that there's ever been in the history of boxing a fighter from Indiana inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. So I'm proud of that too, man.
Being a part of the history books.
When you think about all you've accomplished, I mean, especially, with you and Floyd in terms of, because we're big fans of Floyd over here, because later on we have to talk about how you and Al Heyman would eventually link in terms of him being your manager. And I believe Chris Bird is some kin to you, is he not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's your cousin, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So that's something where, from that perspective of it, I mean, obviously this is a family legacy as well as an individual endeavor that you all have excelled in. With Floyd, people have their issues with Floyd, but one thing about it, me and King have always respected about Mayweather is this. When you're talking about he figured it out early where a lot of people didn't. He became the main event. He became his own best promoter. He became great at what he did, to where his thing is, look, you want to have me for a fight? I set the terms because I'm the attraction. Nobody else has been able to do that.
As he would say, the A side.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, he raised the bar. He really did. And one thing that I know is that throughout, if you look at the history of boxing, I think Bruce Lee said it best once when and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, people always generate toward a style that is successful. So, and you go and look back, the first really successful style that I can think of, and it may be, I'm sure there was more, were Sugar Ray Robinson. Which Sugar Ray Robinson style is the style that actually created Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. Just that footwork and whatnot. And then once he was preceded, he was preceded by a gentleman by the name of Muhammad Ali. So everybody wanted to be like Ali. And then Ali was preceded by a gentleman by the name of Mike Tyson. Everybody wanted to be like Mike Tyson. I can't tell you how many fools I knocked out coming into the ring because they thought they could wear a towel and have some shoes on with no socks. Fool, you gonna get blisters.
They come in with the black shorts.
And the black shorts, and doing the Mike Tyson when he had the nerve thing, and he was doing that with his head
with that Brooklyn twitch.
Yeah, dude. Hey, man, like I say, I can't tell you how many people I knocked out, to be honest, that thought they was Mike Tyson until I hit him. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that the next style that people took after Mike Tyson was Floyd Mayweather style, which today, as you see, with the shoulder rolls, keeping the chin tucked behind the shoulder and keeping your weight slightly on your back foot to roll and countering with the right hand. You never seen anybody counter with right hands.
Greatest defensive fighter ever.
Well, I mean, he's definitely one of the greatest. Like, so it's subjective, man, because everybody got their own, and I definitely think he's one of the greats, man. But you have to consider like Julio Cesar Chavez was undefeated until he was 89 fights. You know what I mean? So true. It's and your greatest fighters, Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, just all the fighters that we admired, man. It's not about having a perfect zero that makes you a great fighter, man. At the end of the day, it's the competition that you fight. It's how you fight, and that's why we definitely give Floyd his flowers, to say that he has that perfect zero, you know what I mean? But again, it's subjective because I believe if I was Puerto Rican, I wouldn't say Floyd was the best. I'd probably say somebody like Felix Trinidad, you know what I mean? If I was white, I'd probably say another fighter, but it's not about color at the end of the day, but I'm just saying, I understand. Everybody got their favorites, man, and it doesn't make one fighter less or not. I mean, if you did what you came to do in the sport, then I'm happy for you, man, for any man, any woman.
Yeah, in terms of defensively. Now, in terms of, like you said, with Mayweather, because I've always looked at Mayweather as the greatest defensive fighter out of it.
Man, don't let you. All right. Now, this is live, right? So you better hope James Toney don't hear that. He's going to call I'm going to give him the number. Hey, James, he said Floyd was better than you, man.
Hey, we'll get him, boy.
Tell James, come on. We'd be happy to have him on to tell his side of it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's Clubber Lane from Rocky. I live alone. I work alone. Let me go.
Yeah, but but it's wild though when you mentioned that, Lamon, because when you're looking at the levels of fights in terms of when you look at the heavyweight division, the lightweight division, when you look at all the guys in the different weight classes, because Floyd has gotten the criticism because he didn't always, that he was fighting in a division at the time that maybe the best fighters weren't there, and even at times that he will wait before. He would calculate when he wanted to fight certain people. Well, back in the day,
smart.
Yeah, it's smart, But when you look at days like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, of course Jack Johnson, Max Schnelling, Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis, all those guys. It was like, the fights were made, and then that's what you did. When you get with Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, rest in peace. Of course, even in the later years with Pacquiao, Trinidad, Corte.
You got to look at it like this, though, bro, because as the money landscape changed the sport to a degree to where people hate it because Floyd found a way to flip the cards. Cause see,
Well, that's what we do, man.
it
I mean,
used to be a promoter's
that's
game.
what we do.
Yeah, I mean yourself, James Toney, of course we can't forget the VA legend. Rest in peace to Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. I remember seeing him in my old barbershop years ago as a young kid, and he'd be just sitting in the chair, just chilling.
He was the man, won't he?
Huh?
He was the man coming up in there. It was like,
hey man, listen, him and a young Pernell Whitaker and a prime Floyd Mayweather would have been the most boring fight. It'd have been the most boring fight ever watched.
Cause nobody trying to get hit.
Right. Neither one of them would get out the ring with a scar, with a nick on them. Like the winner would be the referee.
I mean, you're looking at two defensive aces. And the thing is, when you're looking at that type of fight, Lamon, you definitely were always a very, watching some of your clips, on YouTube. You were always very methodical. You knew when to let them have that hammer, when it was time to let it go. In terms of where you saw some fights, because obviously you went in there and you were never scared at all. But obviously we've seen some wars in terms of when we saw Hagler and Hearns. We saw, what was it? Man, I'm drawing a blank. King, what was that trilogy that we saw? Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti, yeah.
Man, them dudes came in with no strategy. They just want to beat the shit out of each other. They had no strategy. They just came in let's ball brawn and slobber knocker.
When you came in the ring, Lamon, what was pretty much your strategies in terms of, how you wanted to approach it, in terms of just studying your opponent and then knowing what to do and when to do? Like, what was like your first major, like, big main event fight? What was that like for you?
Well, as you're speaking, all I could really do was think about my mindset. My mindset was always about playing chess. So some opponents, you want to be the white pieces and you want to get to the aggressive start. But then sometimes against certain opponents, you want to be the black piece. And instead of sometimes always moving your pawns, you want to start with your knights. You know what I mean? Right. So and instead of starting in the middle of the board, you might want to start on the left side of the board versus right side of the board. But it always depends on the mentality of the opponent that you're playing against. So when I fought people, I was always the type of person that, like, if you watch my fights in the beginning, very, very seldom did I actually go out and jump on a guy. People perceive my style as an aggressive style, but my trainer, Bill Slayton, who trained Ken Norton was his first world champion, and Lamon Brewster was his last world champion. But the point I'm making is that for me, I always use calculations on how to engage my opponent. I try to do my homework by watching tapes. I hear a lot of fighters, that's ego and all that, man. Listen, I'm trying to make an A, so I'm studying my tapes and whatnot, and I'm trying to figure out the best approach to get to my opponent. Do I start fast? Do I start slow? Do I start in the middle? What punch do I feel that I can land the best? Do I beat him according to my foot movement? Do I beat him according to my speed? Do I beat him according to my power? So I used to just take all these calculations and try to figure out what was the best thing for me to do based upon this fight, and sometimes based upon the way I felt going into each and every fight, because you're always going to feel different about every fight, and every fighter is different. As you know, styles make fights. So I would always try to be smart and do my homework before like as the doctors say, I tried to measure twice, so I only had to cut once.
That part. And that's always, and one thing about it is boxing is a beautiful science of pugilistic strategy and execution. Obviously, it's a sport you can get hit, and it's a sport that, you try to mitigate it. And like you said, you never went in with the aggressive approach in terms of just like you said, you were strategic and you struck when necessary.
Yeah, and plus too, man, he don't put a lot of pressure on yourself when you talk trash, because when you talking trash to your opponent, it's psychological. See, people be thinking psychologically getting to the opponent, but it's also putting a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
Man, y'all remember the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, when he would say, when folks would say, "Don't make me angry," he wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
And did you know that the angrier that he got, the stronger he got?
Yeah.
And so I was like, if you ever watched my fight when I fought Vladimir Klitschko, the reason why my brother Lamon Brewster wore the green paint into the ring was to remind me of the Incredible Hulk inside of me, because he knew that the angrier I got, the stronger I got, as Vladimir found out.
That was a crazy fight.
Now, the Klitschko fight was especially a very personal one for you. Because off the cuff, we don't always like to jump into the heavy meat, but if we can segue into it, like you spoke on it, we always bring it home, but it's there, Layman. Take us through the events that led up to it in terms of how, because you beat him and became champion behind that victory. How did that whole situation culminate to you and him getting to that bout?
Well, it's crazy because, he had lost to a dude named Corey Sanders a couple of years before that. And so Corey Sanders had the title. So I was number 4. And then the WBO sent me a letter that says, you're number 1 because you have beat Nate Jones for the NABO, which makes you number 1 in the WBO, which, because the NABO is the little brother, little sister, whatever, to the NABO. I mean, to the NABO. So anyway, WBO. I said to the WBO. So anyway, so they give me this letter that says you cannot fight or you'll be disqualified from fighting for the world title. I say, okay. Corey Sanders got the title. They send me a letter. You're going to fight Corey Sanders in 4 or 5 months. So we want you to get yourself ready to fight Corey Sanders, because now Corey Sanders is the WBO champion. I say, okay. So I go to camp. I'm in camp about a week, maybe 2 at the most. First time I ever been to my own camp. I'm up in Big Bear, and I get a call from Don King telling me, well, you can go home. I'm like, what? Well, Corey Sanders is giving up the belt so he don't have to fight you. I'm like, what? How the heavyweight champion of the world give his belt up so he don't have to fight me? Like, what? I ain't never heard no mess like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really? Like, he don't want to fight. So what he did was, and I get it, it's all about money. He gave up his belt and went and fought Vitaly Klitschko. But still, I wouldn't have gave him a belt up. I'm sorry, I don't care who it is. You just gonna have to beat me. And I would have. But the point is, so I go back home, and then I just sat. And I'm like, well, who am I going to fight? They say, well, we're not going to give you the title because he vacated it. Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you give me the title? We was going to fight anyway. But, they got their politics. And they got their franchise player, which, hey, I'm going to say what it is. Vladimir Klitschko. They wanted Vladimir to get that title back because he got the right complexion for the protection. He's going to get way more attention, way more sponsors because of the color of his skin. I get it. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a man. It's James Toney calling me. I'm gonna tell this Trump. I'm gonna call him back.
Bring him in. Look, if you want to bring him in, bring him in.
All right, hold on. Clubber Lane. Hey, I got you on the phone with somebody. We actually recording the show right now, and I was talking about you, and you just called me. I was telling him how you cover Lane from Rocky.
Mr. Toney, it's an honor. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
The legend himself, lights out.
That was his mama. All right, you know what? Because this live, my mama gonna hear it, and I bet you go. Yeah, she gonna get you now, Pop. You set me up. Yeah, I definitely set you up. You walk right into my trap. Yeah. What's happening? What's going on?
What's up, man?
What's good?
Man, we got 2 champions on the. Oh my goodness!
This is a legendary moment right here.
Coffee Cup history.
Well, you know, I don't make it no secret, man. James Toney's a big brother to me. I've always looked up to this dude, man. And he helped to bring out who I became. You know, as a fighter, he helped me in so many ways, man. And you know, I always try to give him his flowers publicly because he deserves it, man. And you know, as you heard me talk about him earlier, and he just called me. So, without further ado, this is Mr. T from Rocky. Hey, Rocky. Hey, fool. You ain't never coming back. Never.
The man that put the man that put the fear in the Italian stallion heart. What's good?
What's happening, man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Good. Mr. Toney, my name is T-Max from Chesapeake, Virginia, the head host, the mad genius, the super scientist of Off the Cuff Radio, King Eric the Ruler from North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
We co-host Off the Cuff Radio together. I said earlier that Mayweather was the greatest defensive fighter I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
He's standing on it.
You might have something
I told you James going to be mad. What? Hey, James, he said that Floyd Mayweather was the best defensive fighter. I said, James Toney going to have a fit when he hear you say that. Man, you called. Hey, you must be drunk or something.
Look.
He ain't gonna wear like me. He ain't basketball. He don't even do the shoulder roll right correctly. You know what I'm saying? He's doing scary.
Man, look.
Well, and then I want to say this too, as you were speaking.
Yes, sir.
It's one thing to roll a punch from a dude that's 140 pounds, 150 pounds, but it's a whole nother thing to roll a punch against a dude 230, 240, 250 pounds, man. It is a lot more dynamite in them hands than it is somebody 130 pounds hitting you. You feel me?
Absolutely.
You see, Jimmy and Floyd, I make it look easy. He's sure to do it. I make it look easy. Hey, go back and watch the film. Watch how he do it and watch how I do it. You'll see the difference, all right? Clubber Lane, everybody. Clubber Lane.
Yeah, we go.
Hey, Rocky.
Yeah, we going back to school and watch that, man.
Going back to school and watch this shit, and make sure you watch it in slow motion so you can see how I sit there in the pocket and bag motherfuckers and don't get hit. He turns and runs away. You feel me?
Right.
That's the difference. That's the difference between him. I stay in the danger zone. I stay right in the pocket. And that's what we're supposed to do. That's because you flat-footed.
That's that bang. That's that bang out defense. Cause that put a lot of fear in a lot of fighters. You know, cause you can't bang them out, and they see that you're still coming through.
Exactly. Hey, you have fear when you try it. When you do it, and see Floyd, he has fear because his whole family don't forget not to get knocked out.
Ooh, wait. Man, look. I ain't
going nowhere. Where I find, ain't nobody fucking with me. Can't nobody fucking with me. Especially on right. Can't nobody mess with me. Period. And
man, look.
Gentlemen, you hear directly from the mouth of Dark Gable.
Man, look. because while we got y'all on the phone, both of y'all, and James, we extend an invitation to you as well. You know, Layman will tell you all about the details with it, but we would love to have you on the show as well. You know, to have your own interview with us to talk about your history as well.
Oh, good. Well, you let me know where I'm meeting. Well, shit.
Yeah.
After, what day? Let me know what day.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely hit
Layman and us will make it happen. Layman, while we got both of y'all on the phone, tell us about your foundation that you all, along with Buster Douglas, put together in terms of helping young boxers come together in terms of the next generation.
So what we're doing is we're okay. So I have a nonprofit organization called Brewster's Place. Brewster's Place consists of world champions coming together to try to mentor the young men and women about how to perceive life as a fight. And what we're doing is we're at where we are all taking states. Like for instance, me and Buster Douglas just had Indiana versus Ohio just took place this past August 24th. Well, next this coming January. Well, I think we're going to shoot for January. We're going to challenge this dude on the phone, the junkyard dog, James Lights Out Toney. We're gonna get 15 fighters. He's going to get 15 fighters from the state of Michigan, and then Buster Douglas is going to get. We're going to take the fighters that won on the card between Indiana and Ohio and this past August 24th, and we're going to come challenge against Michigan. And sometime between, I'm setting the date. It's not been set, but it's going to be between January and March. And then what we're going to do is take those winners and come to, in May, we're going to go and challenge Martell Griffin and Nate Jones in Chicago.
Easy work. Easy work.
Yeah, of course you're going to say that. So.
Everybody knows there are no fighters in Indiana or Chicago or anywhere. Indiana.
Go ahead and say it. They ain't from Ohio. If they ain't from Michigan, go ahead and say it. We already know. Detroit, go ahead.
You got that right. If they ain't from Michigan, you can't fight. Period.
See, his wife had to give him an ice bag for that big old head to swell down every night in order for him to sleep in the bed, right? Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. So that's what we're doing, man. We have. So what we're doing is we're gonna break it up into 5 different regions. We're gonna have the West Coast region, the East Coast region, the Midwest region, the South region, and the Mountain region. And within each region, through a fiscal year, each region is going to fight amongst each other and collect their best fighters. And then what we're going to do is once a year, we're going to fly to Ohio, to Hamilton, Ohio. The mayor there, Pat Moeller, and the city councilman there is Joe Lauer, and the city manager, well, he used to be the chief of police, Chief Buchheit. Well, what they've agreed to do was help us to host this yearly event so that it can be the biggest Midwest boxing event that takes place in the Midwest, which is going to combine all the states where each state is represented by one world champion, and each champion is going to bring 15 fighters, men, women, and children.
I'm bringing 15 killers.
Yeah. That's what your mouth say.
Killers. Hey, fellas, name me a trainer. Let me somebody who can train in Indiana.
Oh my!
Name me somebody who can train in Ohio. Name me somebody who can train in Chicago. Ain't none.
Hey, you know, James Toney's the junkyard dog, right?
Toney's mama.
All right, mama, you hit it, mama. Hey, you.
That is dope.
Sorry,
right here.
James, I'm gonna get you, man. I'm gonna get you.
Please do. Please.
Right.
Hey, Harry's your way, baby. I'm
Don't
worry.
worry, it's coming. It's coming soon to a theater near you, punk.
Oh, okay, thanks. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. So what I'm doing is I'm taking
How do I help
the
protect-
profits from these shows, and I'm paying the champions to mentor to young men and young women that join up for Brewster Place Fight for Life program online. So each champion to get an hour session to mentor young men and young women about how to perceive life as a fight, because life is a fight. But a lot of these young men and young women don't have fathers, and so what we're doing is teaching them the foundation of what it is to be a fighter, because as we said earlier, boxing is 90% mental. So that means life is 90% mental. And so what we're trying to do is teach these young men and young women to be champions of life.
It's a great thing. It's a great situation. Let me give the kids do. I really believe it because the kids they need help. They need guidance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you both look at the state of boxing today, where a lot of people feel like, go ahead, look, go ahead, just run with it.
Let run with it.
Because Mr. Toney do work, run with it. Let's just get it. What do y'all think in terms of how the fights are being, how the fighters are being ranked, how the main events are being set up? Run with it like Barry Sanders. Just break through that hole and do it. Just what is?
Man, boxing day is terrible. It's in a terrible state. Everybody wonder why MMA is coming up so fast. You know what I'm saying? We lose our family. We're not having the proper fights to put together. You know what I'm saying? Look, ain't no way in hell James Crawford should be fighting somebody 11-0. And nobody even know who he is. And what else? Tank Davis is fighting everybody. I give him credit. He's fighting everybody who would have put in front of them, who could be tough and badass, whatever you want to call it. The heavyweight division is terrible. You don't even know who the heavyweight champion of the world is. I don't.
Well, I'm going to say, I would like to say in defense of boxing, what I believe, my theory of it is the reason why boxing has went down in terms of the skill level is because the old trainers like Bill Miller, Bill Clayton, Eddie Futch, like all these old trainers that really understood boxing, understood it as an art and as a science. Because you rarely hear people refer to boxing as an art and science anymore.
Sure,
the scientists have all retired or died, if you will.
Right now, everybody want to fight for how much money is it? I ain't care. Yeah. I just want to fight. You know what I'm saying? Just fight. If you good, if you feel that you better than me, let's do it, buddy. I'll meet you in the ring. I'll meet you right there in the split, right in the middle. I ain't going nowhere. But right? Today, oh my God! Well, I have to
that's social media, and that's because of social media. See, social media says you know what? I may not be the best fighter, but I got 1 million followers.
And they argue all day on Twitter.
It's about money.
Yep.
And they argue all day on Twitter.
What's that?
And they argue all day on Twitter. I'm like, man, what happened to the press conferences and the razzmatazz of that? They over there having contract negotiations on Twitter.
It's crazy. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, so I sometimes I don't even watch the fights. The only people I watch is Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford can fight. Tank Davis can fight.
Yeah.
They can fight.
But I want to say, I'll tell you this too. I want to throw this in, James. I want to say to you guys, man, I was thoroughly impressed because when Buster Douglas and me did our show in Hamilton, Ohio this past August 24th, man, that competition, we had 21 bouts. And I'm just being honest with you, man. I've been to a lot of professional, a lot of amateur shows in my life, like any fighter. But I can honestly tell you, not because it was my card, but because I witnessed out of 21 bouts, I witnessed 20 bouts that I could honestly say all of those dudes, seeing those fights make me sleep at night well, because if these guys are the future of boxing, boxing is going to be good, man. Like them dudes at that age, they were slipping punches, rolling punches, and I'm talking about, man, kids as young as 7, 8 years old, all the way up until young adults, man. Like these boys really can fight. I mean, they really, really could fight. I was pretty impressed, to be honest with you. So I say that, man, just because I truly believe boxing has a great future, man, and I think our youth are the proof in the pudding for us. Now I can't say about Detroit, but I can talk about Ohio.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Indiana, Ohio, Chicago, forget about it. And the Mountain View, whatever you want to call it, they got opportunity. You come to Detroit, you get your ass whooped.
Hey, this episode was brought to you by Haterade. Okay.
It's called the truth.
Hey, we're gonna see next year, Chuck. Hey, we're gonna see next year. We announcing it right here for the first time. Indiana and Ohio coming to kick Detroit butt. Now what?
You know what? Look, see, I was gonna do this for you. I was going to come to the city and be in the have fun, relax, and chill out. But now, when I get there, you're getting robbed.
Oh my! See that? You see that? See that? Why we can't just get along?
Okay, so we got to ask y'all about this too, because what you both said about how the next generation is coming up. Boxing, in terms of the main event status, has always been known in terms of big money. And what did you all learn in terms of what it takes in terms of getting to that place of where the big money is, how it's distributed, and most importantly, how you hold on to it in terms of making sure that life after boxing is comfortable?
Well, you have a strong mind like mine who knows to no. You know what I'm saying? No, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You have a future coming up. You have money to be able to survive, to get your family. And, you know, just basically just all the love around you helps you. And you have the right people around you. You have the right people around you, and you're in trouble.
Right.
Bingo.
James, when you started out and you were really, really, really becoming major in the game, tell us about your experiences from when you first started, from when you started training to when you hit the major league.
Well, when I came, I was fortunate. A great manager. By Johnny Cents, we had connection with Don King, and I never associate myself with Don King. He went to ABC Promotions, and he taught me how to balance everything. Make sure everything's right. Your quality's right. Your money's right. And then when I was Jackie, things elevated, higher, you know what I'm saying? I have a little more money, and I was just crazy. But then, like I said, Mom, she's the most important thing in my life, the most important figure in my life. She made sure I had to available to me from the gun.
Mm-hmm. Well, my question for you, James, I got a question, man, as a fan. My question to you is, when would you say in your career that you would say, I made it? Like, was there ever a point in your career while you were still fighting that you said, I've made it?
After I beat Murray Sosa.
Oh, wow.
After beat Murray Sosa, I had my first main event with Murray Sosa at Taj Mahal, Lansing, Jersey. And I'm here now. This is what I work for. And then after I beat Murray, I won the Lewis Championship of the world. I had a belt, I kept his belt. I get back to him. I said, this is mine. I ain't never lose this.
Nice.
I mean, Lamon. Oh, okay, yeah, Layman, that's our question to you. When did you realize, like, that you made it? In terms of what was your watershed moment? Like, yo, I'm really here. Like, I did it.
Well, I'm the wrong person to ask because I couldn't answer that, man. I don't know, man.
After he beat Klitschko, he made it. I told him. I told Layman 25 he would never bomb out. I know how Klitschko was.
You did say that. Yep, you sure did the whole time. James Toney was always in my corner, man. Always. And I thank you for that, brother.
Yeah, especially
Yes,
since
sir.
the Klitschko's was like the golden goose of the heavyweight division at that time, so that broke a lot of hearts there.
Yeah, man. 60 Minutes had recorded a special that they were going to release on the success of the Klitschko brothers. You know, these Caucasian Europeans coming over to America, dominating all heavyweight division, which was always notably a dominated by black fighters, basically, in America for years. And so for them to come over here from the Ukraine to be Caucasian, like they really had made a 60-minute series that they had recorded thinking that Vladimir Klitschko was going to beat me, but they ended up having to wait 10 years to even release it. I just saw it, matter of fact.
They had to put that in the vault.
But see, the thing is, about the Klitschko sisters, I call them that.
Oh, Lord.
And they'll put in with mediocre opponents to make them look good. When they first met the front of Lamon Brewster, it was a whole new story.
Do that.
Now, when you all look at it, because boxing, because you both are Hall of Famers, both of you are legends. When you look at how the game was in terms of where it was, because boxing is all about promotions. We learned that from watching the Rocky movies. We've seen it in all the boxing movies, you know, Raging Bull, you know, all of that in terms of how you have to make. And even in 96 with the Great White Hype. Shout out to Peter Berg and Damon Wayans and Sam Jackson, Sally Richardson, and all them who were in it. When you're looking, when promoters are putting together fights, even if they're not necessarily title fights, what is the stratagem, the how they figure out how they're going to make it? Because that's been the criticism of boxing, is that it's not in a linear ranking in terms of who the guys, in terms of where their ranking is. It's really more about who they want to put in the ring when they want to do it. You all have been there. Tell us how it works from what you all.
It's called ass kissing.
Okay.
I don't do it. I fight. If you feel like I said, if you feel you better than me, let's do it. I'll fight you for better. Let's go. That's basically what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I will prove myself with anybody, anywhere, anytime. That's me. I feel that I am the best fighter to ever put the gloves on.
Mm-hmm.
I always told Layman when he coming up, I said, Layman, you're a bad boy, but don't never nobody say different. Don't never nobody say different. You are a bad man. You go there with your mind on this woman in your ass.
Thank you, brother.
I don't care who it is. He did. He did what he's supposed to, and I'm very proud of that. And now look at him now. Hall of Fame, Lamon Brewster.
Lights out, Sanford.
Oh man, y'all need to take this show on the road in terms of the comedy skit. Because I mean, y'all got enough material for it.
Man, we've been around each other for 30
It's the
years
content,
now.
man. It's the content era, man. Like,
Man.
yeah, you getting.
Hey, I knew James when he had hair on his head.
Oh God!
Look,
I remember when you had your snaps in your head.
They talking about my head, punk.
So it has everything he had an afro.
I'm sensitive. Don't talk about my head.
Look, James, I got to dig through my magazines, but I actually got the old King magazine years ago when you were in the Bentley, or was it a Rolls Royce with a cigar and a snappy ass suit, just looking dope as hell, you know what I'm saying? Right. I got to find a picture and put it online.
Say it.
I got an old picture of you from King magazine years ago when you were riding the Rolls Royce with the snappy suit, just looking fresh with a cigar and the truck jewelry on, just like looking just straight looking like a boss in it, man. I got to find that picture and put it online.
I had fun shooting that, man. It was great time, and I was just showing my how I would live, how I deserve to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, hey, James, listen, man. If you go to James' house and knock on his door at 3 a.m, he gonna come to the door with a suit on.
I wear that. I'm an old school guy. I like the way guys dressed back in the old days. You know what I'm saying? The suits and the fedora hats. That's me.
And he ain't lying.
I try to Lamon country ass dress like that, but he's like, I can't do it. I'm too heavy.
Oh man.
Y'all hear this abuse?
I mean, so we got it from James. Lamon, what did you find in terms of promotions about how these promoters are put the fights together in terms of, did you feel like there were situations prior to the Klitschko fight or others that you felt like you were being shortchanged or outright cheated of not getting a chance to participate in?
Man, I'll tell you like this. Mm-hmm. If I shared with you the fights that I didn't even receive a dime when I fought, even though they were on television, if I shared with you the money that I made, even though I was a decorated amateur, even though I was an undefeated pro, you wouldn't believe it. But the thought for me was that it wasn't about the now, it was about the later. It would be greater later. So I just kept going, man, because I felt like I wasn't walking. I felt like I was climbing, and so I'm climbing to the top, man. And sometimes you're gonna get a ledge, it just ain't gonna be that deep, and you just gonna keep going till you can get to a bigger ledge. But I made it.
Absolutely. You and Michael. You and Michael Moore both spoke passionately at the dinner, and I know from where both of you are at in terms of being veterans, being distinguished ones, being all-time greats. Where do you feel the game is for the fighters today in terms of making sure that their finances are taken care of after they leave the game, in terms of just making, because this has no retirement plan, this has no pension, and we've seen fighters out there who are struggling after they retire. What do you see, you and Mr. Toney, what do you all see needs to change in terms of how boxing federations need to take care of fighters after their fighting careers are over?
Hey, whatever we try to say, it don't happen. It'll never happen because everybody they too greedy.
Well,
agree. We do need a commission to put like some states. Some states do have business to take a little bit out the check and then hold you for how many years. I think California does that, and New York does that.
Well, I can say this much, man. One thing that I took from, as I was saying when I was at Muhammad Ali's funeral, is that it wasn't what he did inside the ring that made him the greatest of all time. It's what he did, what he stood for outside the ring. And it just prompted me to think in my mind. I said, well, I'm still a champion, and so I'm still campaigning as a champion, except now I'm more so trying to be the people's champion. I'm not trying to intimidate my opponents and things like that. Now my fight is outside the ring, and how can I monetize that? So I've been spending a lot of years trying to position myself so that I can do what we're now about to do. Because now every fighter that's ever won a world title, what I have for them is a way that they can make money from their homes just by mentoring young men and being paid to be mentors. And then we're also giving jobs to people to I was saying this boxing community because these people are the ones that are the referees, if you will. They are the ones that are going to be what do you call that? The people that moderate. They're going to be the moderators, if you will, between the champ and the people, the young individuals that are coming online to get mentored. So that's what Brewster's Place is about. It's about raising money for us to be able to pay these champions to be able to tell their life story, their story as it relates to them, how they became a champion in the ring and outside the ring, because we have to teach the application that boxing teaches you as a champion to people that got education, because education without application leads to a life of frustration. That's why you got a lot of educated fools, because they got the education, but they don't understand the application. But through boxing, in order to be successful, you come to understand, overstand. You have to apply yourself. So apply yourself with the education that you take in the boxing gym, the education that you learn on your way to being successful. You apply that in the ring in order for you to be a champion, not just in the ring, but a champion of life. And that's what Brewster's Place is all about. So to answer that question, you're going to have a lot of fighters that maybe retire with money, but they can have health problems, they can have bad accountants, they can make bad investments, they can lose their money, just whatever it is. But through Brewster's Place, they can always make money from anywhere around the world, as long as they can set their phone up where the phone can see them and they can answer the questions as it's going to be sent to them beforehand, so that these individuals that has the same mentality as these fighters, aggressive mentality versus a defensive mentality versus a counterpunching mentality. So you're paired up with 8 fighters, and you get to get mentored by 8 fighters about how to perceive life as a fight, because life is a fight.
Warrior president, that's what I'm talking about. I should be, Lamon, you should be the president of the United States.
Absolutely.
Well, vote for him.
Look,
Hey, they trying to assassinate presidents, don't you know?
Look, you got the hood behind you, Brewster. Look, we ain't that fun.
And you for the people.
You got your right hand with James with her security detail. So it's like, look,
For sure.
And he from Michigan. So it's like, look, ain't no punks coming out of Michigan.
Ain't nobody gonna want those problems.
Nope. Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, you got that right.
Well, man, the whole thing of this is, and so also we have a tournament that we're doing a boxing tournament that we are submitting a letter to the USA Boxing from all these world champions that are, like I said, each champion is going to take one state, and every champion is going to fight in their region, and then once a year we're all going to come together in Ohio. But what we're going to do is we're going to be able to raise money to be able to keep this event going on, and we'll be able to pay these champions to be mentors with these up-and-coming fighters as well. So what I've been trying to do, working with James over the years, we've been working on trying to develop programs to be able to help retired fighters to be able to make money, because what sense does it make to be a retired fighter and have all this success and don't have it an avenue to show and to tell people how you made it, because somebody's in your shoes, somebody has went through or is going to go through what you have went through in order to be successful. So we're trying to create an avenue to keep the former champions, to keep them relevant and keep them feeling good about themselves, and at the same time putting some money in their pocket, but at the same time giving the service to these young individuals who think they are here by themselves, because once you hear what some other champ went through before they became successful, hopefully it'll inspire you to go and do great things in your life as well.
Man, that's a blessing to have both of you as benevolent ambassadors in terms of passing on that education for the excelling, the evolution that further facilitates the excellence of the next generation. I mean, so what is, for both of you, how has the rest of the boxing fraternity responded? Have you all talked to anybody in particular about maybe them putting their resources in terms of time, in terms of getting involved with it? You don't have to mention names, but have you all just talked to some people, some other current or big names, to where they might want to get involved in as well?
Yes, so this Brewster's Place consists of over 50 world champions, 50 world retired champions that are all going to be mentors, that are all a part of this program. Because at the end of the day, if we hold hands, then we all eat. So like I always tell everybody that comes on board, this thing is for us. This is not a I, this is not a me, this is a we. Because if every fighter represents a part of a net, right? If every fighter puts their pieces together of that net with the other fighter, well, then think about how big that net is. Because like I said, we got over 50 world champions that is part of Brewster's Place, man. 50 mentors that's going to be going to juveniles, going to schools, going to jails, going to prisons, and just keeping themselves relevant, man, keeping themselves out there so that people can hear the stories that we have about how we have to overcome things in life to make it, to the top.
Exactly. Look, if you don't give us the knowledge, you will fail. It's called failure. We don't like being called failure. We the best thing we do. We have the best thing we do. And you see,
that's right.
And sit back and watch and learn. You see what happens, how Brewster's Place come together and bring world champions and future world champions together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So for both of you, Lamon, what was your toughest fight that you recall having?
Yourself.
That part.
Yourself. Get motivated.
Mm.
Also, I want to show them. I'm fighting this thing 10 a day. So you said it. I'm like, I said, man, you have been tough, man. You look good, man. You're a champion. You have to go there and look good. You look good this fight. This fight is gonna be even bigger.
This is true.
Gotcha. James, what was the toughest fight that you ever had? Which opponent really stood out to you?
Basically, every fight I fought, I had to go out and get him, no matter what. I said, I just love the fight. Period. And so every fight, my toughest fight I ever had was Roy Jones. I should have trained for that fight 100%. But I did that bullshit a while. You do what I'm supposed to do, and then had to go crash diet, and me messing me up, and I lost the fight. That was my toughest fight ever.
I'm a witness to that. I was in the gym. He was training at a Mickey Rourke gym on Santa Monica and Cove, Wild Card, what was it, Outlaw Boxing Gym. Yep. I saw that.
I failed, you know what? After I fell there, damn. I did what I wasn't supposed to do. I failed. You know what? I came back even bigger and better. Because that fella there, that loss of Roy Jones, hurt me. It gave me more fire. I came back there, and you see what I did? The second half. I came back, I fought the biggest, baddest guys out there. It was easy for me. I can fight.
Yeah, and I can say this much, man. All the years I've known James since the early 90s, I've only seen that dude hit the heavy bag probably 5 times at the most out of all those years. That dude would come in the gym, he'd spar everybody, including grandmas, but he would not hit the heavy bag. He wouldn't do nothing but spar and go home every day. Not every day, but yeah. Or hit
every day hit the mitts and spar every day. That's how you get ready for a fight. I told him, when we got spar, bro, you show me the skills, man. That's what old school fighters do. But hey, it is what it is. They fight. They really getting fighting. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm like, what the shit is this? I don't do it. I box every day. I sparred I literally sparred every day. Monday to Saturday.
Yeah, I seen James beat up a couple of kids now.
I think, and you know what, to play on to what happened to the state of boxing, I think also a lot of guys are just afraid to take losses. Like everybody banks on the undefeated.
You see, that's the most important thing. Everybody wants to be undefeated. Especially a scary ass motherfucker Floyd Mayweather.
Man, cut it out. Floyd a good dude, man.
Hey, Floyd, he's a good dude. He alright, but you know what? But tell the truth. Tell the fucking truth. Don't say you were. I made it up after all this shit.
Well, listen.
When Floyd was 2-3-0, he used to come and watch me and ask me how you this show. But then, 2 years later, I was in gang for a little bit. I came up the show roll. I do the right way. How you do it? Man, please.
Well,
please.
Hey, fellas, you got to understand, these two are definitely the best that ever did it. And so they always going to have some rivalry. That's all you hearing is rivalry.
And I don't know what? It's not a rivalry because I do the best. I do old school. If you compare me to Sherry Robinson, Archie Moore, those that walk out who gives the solo role, I'm right along with them. Floyd not. Well, I had the best trainer ever, Bill Miller. He trained Ray Robinson at his house. So I learned. And that's how you learn. But watching some old fighters, you get out, you cannot possibly learn something from watching these guys today. But Clyde and throwing on Instagram and all that shit. That's the only thing you learn from.
I mean, you got very few good trainers out there as opposed to and whatnot. I think Ronnie. I like Ronnie Shields. I think Ronnie Shields is a decent trainer, man. I really like. There's a couple out there.
Well, I give you that, but other than that, nah.
Oh, man, there's a couple of them out there, man. There's a couple of good trainers out there. You know, I can't really think right now, but if I really sat down and...
I'm going to tell you right now, the best trainer right now is definitely Freddie Roach.
Oh, yeah. Again, like I say, there are a lot of good trainers. I didn't say a lot, but there are a few. Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely agree with you, man. There are some
Freddie Roach out there. Hey, Freddie Roach is the man. He's the man.
No doubt. Shout out to Freddie Roach. As a matter of fact, Freddie's the one that introduced me to my manager, Sam Simon of The Simpsons. He's the one who actually created Bart Simpson, co-creator of The Simpsons.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, Freddie Roach.
I believe Sam Simon passed some years ago.
He did, man. He did. I loved him, man. Sam Simon was a great man. I wish that I could have been there with him by his side, man, his last days, man. I had to move back to Indiana.
Understood. But that would also lead into you being with Al Heyman. So how did you and Al, with Al Heyman, so how did that situation end up connecting with you and Al?
Vernon Forrest, actually, man. Vernon Forrest introduced me to Al, and I start.
Great dude.
Great guy. Yes, he is, man.
Great dude.
He just started giving me the best advice that any fighter can have, man, without an ulterior motive. You know, Al Heyman's not in boxing for money. he always tells a story to me. He would tell me the story. I hope you don't mind me saying it, but he had a brother that was in boxing. And he got treated poorly, unfairly, and so he wanted to make sure that didn't happen to other fighters. So Al got into this game. He had Burning Forest, and then he started getting other fighters, and then I was able to get with him as well, man. And Al is the man. I love him. I love what he's done for, especially for the sport, man. I mean, he's helped all these fighters. He's not in it for the money. He got money because remember he used to do all the
record industry.
Big concerts.
Record industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that man
remember all the
right
figures?
That man right there, he's a great guy. And I love him. He helped me out a lot. I worked for a couple of years, and I made a lot more of this guy.
I'm laughing.
Great dude.
I'm laughing because I think about all the conversations me and King have had about Al Heyman and how much we love and respect him. It's like, Al is like, man, like Al is just this great dude, man. Like we ain't heard nobody say nothing bad. Like
Man,
Al
he gonna
takes
get you a bag, brother.
You can't.
He gonna get you a bag.
When I hear people say negative things about Al Heyman, I just say to myself, that's because they don't know him.
Man, Al is the man. I mean, he looked out for Bobby Brown. I mean, the man is. I mean, it's like when you think about
Al Heyman looked out for me, man. Al Heyman looked out for me.
Well, tell Frank I go out there for the business real quick. She's sick, so I ain't got back that guy.
Hey man, tell my sister I said that get better.
I bet.
Tell her I'm praying for her.
Definitely, James. And James, Lamon will be in touch with us and you, and we'll definitely get you on as well when you're ready to get on. Thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing from you again.
No doubt. All right,
absolutely.
Appreciate you.
God bless.
All right, friend, Shepard.
Yes,
Mama.
God bless. Thank you again.
All right, Punk.
Oh my goodness. That was classic. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Bo.
That's just our relationship, man. He's like a brother to me, and shit. We for 30 years, we that's how we talk to each other. We real. We
That's
all
beautiful.
got, Yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, shit. It was beautiful that, like I said, man, I came up around so many great fighters. I had no choice but to be good. Montel Griffin, James Toney, you know what I mean? Francois Botha, Jeremy Williams, Frankie Lyles, man. I mean, I was around so many great fighters on a regular basis. Manny Pacquiao used to train from 10 to 12, and me and James and all the other fellas I named, we would all train from 12 to 2. You know what I mean? Michael Moore. I came up with these dudes, man. So I'm blessed coming from Indiana, coming from a state where boxing wasn't big, being cast into this big ocean, if you will, with these big fish, man, these whales, man. Like it's really been a blessing. So I try to use my blessings, my experience to try to enhance other people's life after boxing. You feel me?
Absolutely. And where you said you were Titans, you all were behemoths, and as you said, whales. How did you navigate those waters, staying away from the sharks?
Man, the thing of it is, for me, I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding crazy, man.
It's okay. It's off the cuff. Just say it. It's all right.
I've always believed in God, and He's shown me so many times that He's real, not because He's in a book, not because somebody else said it, but because all the experiences in my life that I've had where I should be dead, I know the only person could have saved me was God. And like I said, me praying to God right out of high school, asking Him to lead me somewhere where I could be successful as a boxer, and He actually did it. And not only did He do it, He took me to California, and He put me in the gym with people like James Toney, Montel Griffin, Orlando Candazales. I mean, man, all these great fighters that, like, wow, man, whoever would imagine a little dude from Indiana, nowhere Indiana, in the middle of the Midwest, they ain't even big on boxing, and then here I am around all these great fighters. I got mountains that I'm running on the beach. I mean, man, like, God has truly been so good to me, and that's why it's imperative that I try to do my best to give back, because he's given me so much. You feel me?
Man, and that's something that is to be said, because, it's not only in just boxing, but it's pro sports in general, because we see a lot of athletes who the excesses, the luxuries, what celebrity affords them, sometimes it's a train wreck when you're dealing with people that are not necessarily spiritually or emotionally grounded. And obviously, you were both. Along with
James said it best.
Mm-hmm.
James said it best. If you recall something he said earlier, he said you got to have a good team, and I had a great team around me, man.
Absolutely.
I had a great team. I could pick up the phone. I could call Freddie Roach. I could call Sam Simon. I can call Al Heyman. I could call Sam Watson, who was Al Heyman's right-hand man. But the point is just that I had great people around me, and then above all, I had a gentleman by the name of Bill Slayton who took me in and treated me like I was his own son. And I even remember at the funeral, even his children made acknowledgement to that when Bill passed away, that he loved me like a son, because I was able to stay in California because this man, he would feed me when I was sick. He would give me advice. He would always encourage me. He would spend time with me outside the boxing gym, and I came to know, trust, and believe in this man. And when you, as a young man, believing that somebody believes in you, that's why I knew I would beat Vladimir Klitschko. Because before Vladimir Klitschko even won the title, when he first came here to America, and he was just blowing out all these heavyweights. One day the TV was on, and he came across the screen, and my trainer looked at me. He said, "T," he said, "you're gonna knock this dude." He said, "You'll beat this dude. You'll knock him out." And I believe that. And when he died, which was 7 months before I fought for the world title against Vladimir Klitschko, I told Klitschko, I said, "You're going to have to kill me to win the fight, because I'm willing to die." And that's why I was very emotional before the fight, because I believed that I could beat him, because before I believed it, my trainer told me I could do it, and I believed in my trainer. And that's why it's so important for us to be mentors to our communities, man, because these young men out here don't have fathers. 70% of the black home is single women trying to raise these young men that when they get 18, now their testosterone is kicking in, and so they got testosterone, but they got their mother's emotions, and they going out there in the world and they getting killed. So what we're trying to do is teach them about the principles and the properties of what it is to be a fighter, so that now when they go out into the world, they see the world as a ring, and they use the judgment that a fighter uses to be able to judge his opponent, because every opponent is different. Some are tall, some are short. And you have to be able to understand styles make fights based upon your mentality, which is your fighting stance. So we teach them this at Brewster's Place, and you're being taught about 8 world champions.
And that's absolute fact, because when you look at things, there's a calculation and strategy. And when we look at a lot of young men out there today, especially with the violence in the inner cities and in the hip-hop community, a lot of times you're having individuals who are reacting off of a perceived slight or perceived disrespect, and they don't think about it. And we all are not that far in difference from age. So we kind of grew up in a different generation where you really thought about it before you did it, because you knew what was on the other side if you made the wrong decision, whether jail or death. And we all came up in that generation where we did not want it to end up either. But we're dealing in a generation now where, you have a lot of these young people out here, they literally are on suicide missions. King and myself. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, and
please,
not to cut you off, and I'm sorry, I did get excited because you're speaking my language, man. I want you to think about this and consider this for a second. The reason why these young individuals are out here living the way that they're living is because there's no expectation on their lives. When a young man leaves out of the house today, there's no expectation of, my mother is expecting something of me, my family, my community, above all my father, because the father isn't there. So now you're out here as this young man and you're taught to be a man, and all you got is the emotions of your mother and the hormones that you don't even know that make you all of a sudden you feel more aggressive, because that's what hormones, that's what testosterone do. And so again, it is a recipe for disaster, because if I am going to build a house of my own, I must first have a foundation to build off of. But because my father wasn't there, and all I have is the hormonal emotions of my mother, and now I've been the man of my house since I was a child. Now I'm older, and now I'm out here and I got testosterone to go with it. It's like I say, the graveyards are full of young black men, because statistics have shown the murder rate, or should I say the death rate, of young men that are raised by their mothers versus having a man in the house. And come on, man, we all know, truthfully, it's systemic at the end of the day. It was, that was a Psalms 83 moment, a crafty counsel. That's something that somebody thought up, because they understand. Like, well, here's the proof in the pudding. When you created the welfare,
public housing, and the man couldn't be in the house.
Exactly. Now, why would you do that? Why would you do that other than some wicked reason? Because if anything, and I know, as men, the last thing we ever want to do is have another man providing for our family. So that man would take that time to live in that house, to educate himself, or take the time to find a great job so that he can support that house, so that he no longer would have to be on financial, aid, or whatever you call it, welfare, but they knew that if we did that, then we could make our prisons bigger. So remember, prison is a business. And every inmate every inmate now loses his rights, so now he can be paid slave wages. That's why if you look at a lot of these companies, they have their businesses hooked up to all of these prisons. Because think about it, how much more money do companies make by having inmates that's only making 15 cents an hour, you know what I mean, versus regular minimum wage? So again, this has all been calculated, man. This, like the Bible says, is nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. I used to be in education as an assistant teacher in PE for 12 years in a school system. We'll talk about that off air. Absolutely. Yeah, but I saw it, and I saw where a lot of those boys coming up, because I had my battles with a couple of them, because it's a situation where their thing is, and it wasn't all of them, because you had a lot that you just let them know that I'm here. And I remember one so vividly, J. Twan Reed. Loved that dude. That was my little brother. And J. Twan was like 14 in the 5th grade, but it wasn't because the boy was dumb. J. Twan was smart. It was just the fact that he had a lot of home issues, so he got failed because he kept missing school, because he had to be at home to handle business, take care of things. He had a little sister, but J. Twan was like one of the nicest kids you would ever meet. Big dude, but he was just like, everybody loved him. And, and he was just a dude that I would always try to help him out because I'm like, dude, just be, if I'm not there, look out for these other young kids out here. Just make sure they're okay. But then you have some other ones that they just, daddy not there, mama acting crazy. So they end up acting crazy because of it. One of them, I won't mention his name, he got caught up in a stick-up robbery 5 years ago and killed a gas station clerk. But we knew when he was young, because I taught this teacher, this was years ago when me and her taught, I said, if he don't change his ways, he's going to be dead by the time he's 21. She's like, I give him 16. But we knew Lamon where it was going. We knew where it was, and it ended up just like we thought it would. So he pled out, and they gave him 50, but he's going to have to serve a minimum of 29. But he had already did 4 during the trial proceedings, so by the time he gets out, he still would have done 33 years.
Wow. And that's why it's so important to me to be able to use this platform of being a heavyweight champion, of being an Hall of Famer. It's important to me, and I'm asking you guys also, man, it's important for us as men to work together to try to help curb this direction that we're heading, because we're heading off of a cliff, because the blind can't lead the blind, and no woman, no matter how strong she is, no matter how experienced, no matter what, can ever teach a boy how to be a man at the end of the day. And so we're lacking a lot of things, but it's really systemic at the end of the day. And I won't go into detail because this ain't that type of show, but the point I'm just trying to make is just a simple fact that we have been taught a system that was, I would say, designed for us. We because it's all about control at the end of the day. I've been around the whole world, and I've never been to a country that people that look like me own the banks, own the government, own the financial systems. And so, again, it's systemic at the end of the day, and to get biblical, and I'm not going to go there with you. I'm just going to say that what we have to do is we have to get, because it's not about color, number one. That we have to try to get the mindset of these young men to be able to perceive life as a fight, because they're losing. They're losing and don't even know they're losing. They've accepted losing. I mean, the things that the government has allowed, you go back when our parents and our grandparents were living, they had so many more morals and values back then than they do today. Things that was not even acceptable back then, and it is acceptable today. And so what's wrong with the world is basically it comes down to all the freedoms that the government allows for everybody to be able to wake up and say you can do and be anything you want to do and be, but then you have to do your research that all nations live like that. We can prove that we come from kings and queens. That is the system that we were always taught to live in. And the reason why diabetes and things like that are so rampant in our community for people that look like us, because we eat foods that are not foreign. We eat foods that are foreign to our ancestors, which, remember, it's their DNA that makes up our body. That's why the Bible says there's no new thing under the sun. So all these foods we're eating, they're man-made, manufactured foods that our body is eating. And we're like, well, what do we do with this? Oh, well, we're going to sit this over here, and then it's going to eventually turn into cancer. But once we can start teaching young people how to eat, young people how to live, and putting an expectation on their lives that they feel like, even though no one is around, I feel like I'll let somebody down if I do a certain thing. So once we get back to that, then we can start to straighten this road out and try to help these people these young people, is what I'm saying, to be able to walk a more righteous path that helps this world. Because when you look at it, the earth is I'm trying to think of a word. It's spoiled. The soil, the air, the water, the food, the body, everything. is yeah. So how do you think? What do you think 20 years gonna look like? If you can see what it looked like 20 years ago, and it didn't look like this, what do you think another 20 years gonna look like?
I mean, when we look at the fashion, because we know exactly what you're saying without saying it, Lamon, and we totally agree. When we look at the music, when we look at fashion, when we look at certain things, it's like ain't nobody doing it but us to a degree. If you get what I'm saying, and King get what no King know what I'm talking. Ain't nobody doing that stuff, and it's like, I'm like, wait a minute. So there's this stuff in terms of where, back in the day, we won't doing stuff in terms of like, wearing dresses and purses and all. We won't do it 20 years ago. We won't doing that. When I was looking at a video on YouTube, and it was just a regular videotape from a 90s, it was like right around 99, 2000 club. And dude, you could even look at the video and see how different the vibe was.
Yes, sir.
It was just different.
Absolutely.
It was just, the vibe and just the overall look. And it was just that indescribable kind of, it was just a good time. And now it's like, we see a whole bunch of, we got into a place where, on off the cuff, we are always respectful, but we always try to speak the truth on matters. But when we see a lot of times with artists promoting, back in the day, the most we might have did growing up was smoke weed. We got everybody doing drugs now, in terms of cocaine, fentanyl pills. It's like, we won't doing that. The worst thing you could do back in the day was be called a junkie. And now that's where we're seeing this.
It would be proud junkies.
And it's like, we're children of the hip-hop culture, so we love the culture. We just don't like what's going on in it because the culture we grew up in, and especially as black men and hip-hop music, we're like, we didn't do this growing up, and now we're
because it was hijacked. Our hip-hop culture has been hijacked. Mm-hmm. Because the people that started hip-hop don't look like the people that run hip hop today. I've been at some of those executive meetings with some of my famous hip hop friends that was going to get record deals that had great music, but because the music was not defaming women, it wasn't talking about shooting guns, trap houses, and things like that. The music that they wanted to hear that would be pleasing to certain people, because it wasn't that type of music. Even though it was great music that people would have bought, but it had a more positive demeanor to it, a tone to it. And I've heard them say, "Hey, well, we like the music, but it's not controversial enough." They want it to sell. They want somebody to fight. They want somebody to shoot. They want somebody to feel belittled. They want somebody to feel like being a drug dealer is the greatest thing to do, because that's how they make money. See, we don't understand. We're looking at hip hop today through the eyes of someone else.
And that's, oh man, you hit around the head, because especially, and even then because you grew up in the time we did, so even if rappers had beef with each other, it was strictly wax. When KRS-One and MC Shan, and we had Shan on a couple of times, even when
you had who on the show?
MC Shan.
We had him on the show twice.
Oh my man, wow. All praises. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, when we talk off air, I'll really have to tell you about how King, King is the mastermind behind all of this. I'm just blessed to have been a part of this for the past 7 years, but we've interviewed this is a great thing about Blog Talk because we're on a different technology how we're using it, so there's no time limit. We've interviewed DJ Yella, we've had Louis Rankin, we've interviewed Chill from Compton's Most Wanted, Chili Chill from Lynch Mob. We've had Spice One, we've had CMG from the Conscious Daughters, we've had Sugar T, E40 Sister from the Click. We've interviewed K Reno.
It's a strong resume. We ain't even touched on the surface.
Man, I got a concept, man, that I feel like would be a true money maker for you guys, man. And I say you guys, I want to include myself in it, man. I guess we can talk off the air.
Absolutely. We will do that on a conference call.
Man, y'all gonna love this.
of course, we can't forget our big sister, Kenya Ware, who is one of our biggest supporters. We love her so much. You haven't met Kenya, have you?
I don't think so.
Kenya was there for the weekend in Vegas. Her dad's birthday fell on that Saturday, so she didn't make the dinner because she went back home that Saturday.
Okay.
But Kenya was also the one who was, because you and your family got the gift bag, right? Yeah, Kenya was the one who she was the one who was she was part of the people that helped do the sponsorship.
Oh, okay, cool. Maybe I did see her. I think. Yeah. Hold on. I think I just got to see her face again.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't there when y'all in the suites, in the VIP suite, because I wasn't there for that meet and greet. I was there for the dinner because I met you, of course, after the main dinner was over.
Yes.
But for Rich Medina, Michelle, Zab, Judah, yourself, Al Bernstein, Tim Bradley.
That's family, man.
Of course, Mubarak, Mr. Mubarak, the artist who did
Muhammad, yep.
Yeah, Muhammad Mubarak. Man, that was a trip of the ages. I'm just so blessed that, me and my family, and of course, for, you and my dad, I really wish I shot that picture with you and my dad. But man, that was just, God couldn't have planned it better. He couldn't have planned it better.
Yes, sir.
Praise.
And this is where we're at now.
Yes, sir. Everything comes for a reason, man. But I'm about to go ahead and I gotta charge these phones up, man. But because I had to record it on this device, so that way I could get it up on YouTube and all these platforms and stuff. But yeah, man, this was a real dope build, man. This was probably one of the best shows we did this year.
This is one of the best shows This is one of the best shows we've done ever.
All praises. That's beautiful, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. You're welcome back anytime. Anybody in your circle you want to bring on, any young fighters, any of your celebrity friends, tell them about us. We would love to have them on and have them share their stories.
I would love to get with you guys, man, and we may even be able to be sponsors of your show with our boxing league that is going to be made up of all these world champions, and we're all going to be putting on individual shows within our region, and it will be great to have you guys to allow us, I guess you say, to sponsor you guys in some regard, man, so that you can help us to make this league something that everybody around the country comes to look forward to, man, because we got to find a way to draw these young men interest into these sports, man, and boxing being number one in my book, because boxing is life.
Absolutely.
For real.
Matter of fact, because out here in Virginia, we have the Davis brothers, Keyshawn, Kelvin, and Keon, the Davis brothers, who are going to be the next wave of their brothers. They, I believe, have a fight coming up. I think it's I want to say it's October, November. They're doing it in Norfolk Scope. But they're going to be and carrying on that VA boxing tradition with Sweet Pea. You know, they're going to be that next. They're considered to be the next big stars in the game. I don't know how familiar you are with them. Obviously, you're more connected in that circle than I am.
And who is this you're talking about?
The Davis brothers, Keyshawn, Kelvin, and Keon. The Davis brothers. They're from Norfolk. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Holler at your folk, and
man, tell them to get a hold of me, man. Are they doing amateur or pro boxing?
They're doing pro. They're matter of fact, because I'm looking at the article right here. So this is what it is from the scope from TV 13 out here. I'll make it quick because they said, let's see, God dang it, come on, this ain't neat. Because Buddy McGirt is actually okay. Okay, here it is. Okay, they had local star power behind them as well. That included Whitaker's longtime friend, Pro Football Hall of Famer, fellow Norfolk native Bruce Smith, and Mayor Kenny Alexander. All three felt today was fulfilling a lifelong dream. Because this is where they're doing. This is when they actually. This is for the article from when they did the press conference. So they said, I'm just coming to the fight to fight. Said Keyshawn, 11-0, 7 knockouts. Was facing Argentina Gustavo Lemos, 29-119 KOs in a 10-round lightweight main event. I'm going to do a lot of things around the fight, before and after the fight. Older brother Kevin, known as Night Davis, 13-0, is an up-and-coming junior welterweight, while younger brother Keon Davis will be making his professional debut. Smith, who attended the announcement, was a big fan of the three brothers. So yeah, they're getting ready to do that thing at the Norfolk Scope. So I think that's in a next month in a couple months. So yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, you in that circle, you know, just reach out to some of your folk.
Yes, sir.
You can find out more about it, and of course, we'll talk off air about that other business and see what we can put together with it in terms of, you know, how you want to do it. Like King said, we got to jump off. Layman, I mean, thank you. God bless.
This was a blessing.
Yeah, man.
Man, this is. To get James Toney as a bonus? Are you kidding me?
Never
we got
know.
two world champions on the show. I mean,
what? Now that he's retired, we changing his name to James Baloney. And you tell them I said it.
Man, but thank you. And hey, let's get it.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more off air in terms of how we can handle that business, and we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I look forward to it, man. I definitely look forward to it. And, you know, at the end of the day, we all we got, man. And I try to encourage everybody, you know, helping each other is the only way we're going to make it to the next day, see the next day. And if we're not there, we hope that our loved ones are there. And that only helps by us helping each other, man, because there's no amount of money that can ever take the place of a helping hand at the end of the day.
Man, that is church right there. We love you. Thank you so much. This has been an honor. King, take us out of here.
Yes, sir. We'll catch you guys on the rebound tomorrow night. Hopefully Blog Talk will get his act together. I'm about to go ahead and start barking on them. So thank you once again for tuning in. Big shout out to Layman and James Toney for tuning up. We're going to have this show on YouTube, Rumble, all over streaming platforms. So be on the lookout for it.
Absolutely. Our best to you and your family, Layman. Tell James and his family we send our best as well. And thank you again.
Thank you, brothers. God bless, man. I'm here for you.